Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Now, we all love the display of that beautiful bird on a Thanksgiving table. However, I am going to give you one of the easiest ways to cook a Thanksgiving turkey, and it's not cooking it whole. All right, I'm going to show you how to do it so that the breast meat comes out juicy and tender and not dry and bland like it usually can, and so that the thigh and the dark meat is roasted until it's nice, tender, and juicy. Guys, you are going to love this method, and I'm also going to show you how you can make a beautiful presentation for it on your table. Y'all, let's go ahead and get cooking.
Now, y'all, are any of y'all getting these incredible turkey deals? I literally got this turkey for $4. Y'all, it's a big bird. All right. So this is so much meat. I think it was literally like 29 cents a pound. I am going to take it out of the packaging and just go ahead and remove that little indicator because it's really not going to apply with the way we are cooking this turkey. There is usually a lot of liquid inside of the bird, and that's because they brine them. Y'all, don't be trusting the brine that they do to them turkeys, okay? So some of y'all think because they brine it, you don't have to season it well. They're just brining it to add extra weight to the turkey, to fill it up with water. So don't even trust that, okay? Now, guys, I'm going to snip off a little bit of excess fat around the bottom of the turkey, and I'm also going to cut off the turkey tail and take out the giblets and the neck. This little plastic thingy they have, we're also not going to need that, and I'll pluck off a few feathers that I just see. Then I'm going to fill up a bowl with paper towels and put my turkey to the side. Now, this method is going to work with any size turkey. Okay, this one I believe is 14 pounds, but you can use a turkey as big or as small as you want. And guys, after I clean my meat, I am going to rinse out my sink. We are going to cut up this turkey. Just like you see turkey being sold in parts in the store, we are going to cut it up in parts. Don't be intimidated by the size of this bird, okay? I'm going to use a pair of kitchen scissors. Make sure you pick a sharp pair to cut out the backbone. We're going to remove it and then we're going to place it to the side. Taking out the backbone early is going to allow us to start making a stock, even if our turkey is not ready. So now that I've removed the backbone, y'all, I am just going to cut up this turkey the best way I feel how. Now, if you are a professional butcher, you might be thinking, girl, I don't know if you're doing it right, okay? But I'm telling you, it did work for me. All right, so I just went in and I cut through the thigh and then I snipped off that turkey leg quarter. And then I did the exact same thing to the other side. The leg quarter is going to come off really easy since the backbone is removed. You're pretty much just cutting through some skin so that it's no longer attached to the main breast and the wing. Now that the dark meat is off, I'm going to take off the wings. Now, y'all, the wings is my favorite part, okay? I think I told y'all me and my mom would be fighting for them wings. So I'm going to take my knife. I'm going to find the joint that's attaching the wing to the breastbone, and I'm just going to slice right through that. It comes off very easy, okay? You just put your knife right in the middle. It'll pop off, and then you can slice it off. And then, of course, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, in total, it really only took me about 10 minutes to butcher this turkey. It may look a little harder than it is just because of, the camera angles that I have to get. But y'all, this is so easy. Let me know in the comments if you have ever butchered a turkey before. And do y'all think I'm doing it the right way, okay? Now, guys, I want to take the meat off of the bone. Actually, if you wanted to, you could leave the breast on the bone. How they sell like bone and skin on like split chicken breast. You could do the same thing with the turkey. However, I want to take these bones and use them in a stock. So I'm just going to take my knife and just glide it over the bones that are attached to the breast meat. And you'll see that the breast meat will pretty much easily come off. Now, you do have to watch out for the middle. That's where I think it's called the wishbone is. It kind of protrudes up a little bit into the breast meat. You may have to just take your kitchen scissors to help you get it off, or just use your knife to maneuver around it so that you can release the meat. I put this carcass to the side, and now I am just going to cut the skin that is holding the breast meat together because I want to cook these two breast pieces separately. Y'all know breast meat often comes out so dry, but because we've separated it from the rest of the bird, y'all, we can cook it to the perfect temperature. I have placed my turkey parts on a baking sheet. I just like to use a cookie rack to elevate the meat from the liquid that will drop down, but you actually don't even have to do that. I decided to cut off the wing tips because I felt like they would be better off in the broth because they're so full of collagen and flavor, and it was kind of making the wings difficult to fit on the tray. So I went ahead and snipped those off. Later on, you'll actually see me cut the thigh and the leg apart as well, but y'all, you know how it is when you really cook. Okay, sometimes you just change your mind and you just do something different. You know what, we ain't gonna worry about it. We just gonna keep rolling with it, okay? So first off, I'm gonna season this bird, okay? You got to season turkey because y'all know turkey can be dry, it can be bland, it can be all types of things. But one thing you ain't gonna never catch my turkey being is under seasoned. I'm going to use the seasonings of my choice. So I have about a tablespoon of chicken bouillon, half a tablespoon of complete seasoning, about a teaspoon of dry rosemary, a teaspoon of smoked paprika, a teaspoon of chicken, a scallion, and garlic seasoning. I also just have some garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, salt. Guys, you can actually season this turkey any way you want. You can use whatever seasonings you have in your cabinet, okay? So if you just like salt, pepper, rosemary, and garlic powder on your turkey, then use that. This is very flexible. The main thing I will say is that you need to make sure you season it well. This is like 10 pounds of meat. You know, we've removed the carcass, but this is still a lot of meat here, and it's going to take a lot to season turkey. So I'm going to go in here generously on the front and the back of all of my turkey. At the end of the day, you just have to season with your spirit. Do you hear me? If you like to season with your spirit, go ahead and give me a like and throw me a heart down in the comment section. I want to see how many of us know how to season our food. Amen. I am going to spray the legs and the thighs with a little bit of olive oil just to help the seasoning stick. And then I'm going to just rub everything on there. I am going to be placing these trays in my refrigerator overnight to allow them to dry brine and marinate. If you don't have enough time, like if you don't have overnight, try to do it for at least 1 hour. That is really going to help your skin dry out a bit and crisp up. I really don't fool with wet brining. I think this is the easiest way, and so I suggest that you do this method. Plus, the trays don't take up all that much space in your refrigerator. In my turkey roasting pan, I am going to add that turkey neck, the carcasses, just like a random onion from my fridge. I also have some beat up, and I do mean beat up looking celery and carrots. You see how like those carrots is like a weird shape and that celery look weird? Those are the type of pieces of vegetables that I like to use for a stock. Now, if you don't have those vegetables, then you can just use the meat, okay, as well as the gizzards. Add a little bit of olive oil to them and a bit of salt, and we are going to roast these in the oven at 425 degrees for at least an hour. You want to go until it gets nice and golden brown because that is going to give your broth a nice rich flavor. Now, if you don't want to do this step, yes, you can make a stock without roasting the carcass, but I just find that this is going to increase the deepness of that stock. I do not have a large stock pot. If I did, I definitely could make my stock in it. So instead, I am going to use my slow cooker. This is a 6-quart slow cooker, and I don't really use it often, but it really came in handy with this because I can just let the bones and the vegetables slow cook and make a stock overnight. And since my turkey is dry brining the next day, they're both going to be ready at the same time. The only thing I did not throw into the slow cooker was the heart and the liver. I don't like those to cook into the stock. I'm going to chop them up later when I make the giblet gravy. I'm also going to throw in some herbs from my garden and just like a random bit of onion. And I'm going to pour some water right into that roasting pan and get up all those nice tasty bits. I know you didn't think we were going to throw that away. We are going to add all of that delicious flavor into our slow cooker so that we can make the most delicious, easy, and cheap turkey broth. You want to add enough water so that it covers everything. I'm just going to fill up my slow cooker, and that should be enough. I'm not going to add any additional salt or anything like that. I'm just going to leave this rather plain so that when I want to use it for a dressing or anything really, I can just do the salt to taste. I'm going to let this slow cook for 10 hours overnight. Now it is the next day, and I am going to be using my meat thermometer to help me get the right temperature for the dark and the white meat. And I will link what I'm using in the description box. I have let the meat sit out for 1 hour to come to room temp and just get that chill off of them. And I'm going to place my temperature probes into the deepest part of the meat, making sure that I am not touching the bone. I've set the white meat to go off at 145 degrees Fahrenheit and the dark meat at 205. So I want that dark meat to go anywhere from 200 to 205 so that collagen can break down and it can be very juicy and tender. But that white meat can actually come out at 145. Okay, I promise you it's going to be food safe. Trust me, y'all. So I'm going to set my oven to 425 degrees. I'm going to start with the white meat on the top on purpose because that breast is really only going to take about 35 to maybe 40 minutes to cook. And halfway through the cook time, I am going to brush it with butter. I want that skin on that breast to become crispy and brown and beautiful, but it's not cooking but for so long. So if you have it cooking at the bottom, the skin is going to be pale. I'm going to rotate it after I add that butter and just allow it to cook until my temperature probe goes off. Don't worry, that dark meat will end up getting brown. We are going to move that to the upper rack once we take out the breast. I'm going to take out my white meat and then I'm going to bring the dark meat up to the upper rack and reduce the temperature to 400 degrees. You want to let your meat rest. So many people get greedy and they just start cutting into the meat and the juices run out and then your meat is dry. You do not want to do that, okay? I am going to put the wings back in. They're technically ready, but I just like them to be browner. That's just up to you. I just like a really crispy skinned wing. My broth is now ready, so I'm going to use my tongs just to get everything out of the slow cooker. I find that that's easier than dumping this into a colander just because that slow cooker liner is just so hot. So I'm going to use a sieve to help get all the little bits out. I'm going to use all the pan drippings from the breast. Since it hasn't been cooking very long, all the pan drippings are just very golden. Into that, I'm going to add a heaping fourth of a cup of flour, and we're going to toast this so we can make some nice brown gravy. It should take about 45 seconds of you stirring it constantly to achieve that nice brown color and to get out that flour taste. I'm going to use the stock to start making my gravy. I'm going to start out slowly drizzling in about 2 cups of the broth, and then I'm just going to keep adding and adding until I get the consistency that I want. I also took a little bit of the broth and scraped out that pan to make sure I got all the flavor, honey. Then I chopped up the heart. I picked off the meat from the turkey neck and I chopped up the liver and I added that to my giblet gravy. I did salt, pepper, and a bit of chicken bouillon to taste, and I allowed this to simmer just until it got thick enough to coat the back of my spoon. And you will have the most delicious giblet gravy you have ever had. Now it's about an hour and a half later and my dark meat is ready. If you don't have a thermometer that's going to alert you when your meat is at temp, then just get a regular meat thermometer and from time to time just be checking the temperature until it hits at least 200. As you can see, this skin is super crispy and I've been basting it from time to time with a little bit of butter, maybe every 30 minutes or so. And I'm going to let that rest. While it's resting, I'm going to butcher up this breast. Y'all, this breast meat is so juicy. Guys, this will make you want to eat some turkey breast. And it's because it's not overcooked. And you can see it's not undercooked either. Okay. Even though we cooked it to 145, it carried over to 155, which is perfectly safe for your turkey breast. Once my dark meat has rested for about 25 minutes, it's going to be so easy to butcher this. All you have to do is find that bone, you wiggle it, and it's going to pop right out. Because you have cooked the dark meat to over 200 degrees, all that collagen and fat has rendered, and it is so tender. Y'all, you are going to love the turkey thigh pieces. Now, they don't cut up well. They look a little crazy when you butcher them, but that's okay, because I'm going to show you how to plate it so that everything looks nice. Now, this little bone here on the thigh, that's a little chef snack. If you a chef, you know where all the little brown parts and the seasonings are. It's so good. For the wings, I'm just going to pull them apart. You could leave them whole, but I like to separate them because, you know, me and my mama both like these wings, and you know, somebody else might want to grab a little piece too. So now this makes more pieces. On my turkey platter, I have added the breast in the middle because, you know, that's like that showstopper, that beautiful looking cut. And then at the top, this is where I'm going to add all of that dark meat. Okay, it don't look pretty, but it sure enough tastes good. And then on the sides, I'm going to put the turkey wings, and on the top, I'm going to add the drumsticks. Then I just went in and filled in some gravy and some of the white spots, added herbs and grapefruit, and made it look absolutely beautiful. You cannot tell me that this does not deserve to be a centerpiece on your Thanksgiving table.
Y'all, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you learned something, please let me know in the comment section if you're going to be making your turkey like this from now on. I'll see you next time in Kamira's Kitchen. Goodbye and God bless.